Hello and welcome to your practice. Thank you for joining me today. For our practice today, we are going to be going through a series of sun salutations or Surya Namaskar to welcome in summer. So let's start on our backs. And you could just come to any comfortable position on your back with your knees up or down. Maybe have your palms facing up. We'll just take a moment to come into the practice and settle in. Bring awareness to your breath, noticing your inhales and your exhales. And as you're coming into your breath and into your practice, let the muscles around your bones relax. When you let your muscles relax, feel yourself sinking into the earth. As you're sinking into the earth, imagine yourself on the earth, spinning around on its axis, and the earth rotating around the sun. And take a moment to visualize what it means when it's summer in the Northern Hemisphere. So imagine yourself on this earth, tilting towards the sun. And as we reach the summer solstice, we'll be at the furthest point tipped forward towards the sun. So here in the north, that means long days, short nights. And as you're imagining, pause for a moment and think about the earth pausing for a moment. Through the next week or so, the days will actually stay almost the same length. So you can imagine that the earth is pausing as it tilts on its axis. So welcome in this tilting towards the sun, saluting the sun. So come back to your breath. Inhale and exhale. And we'll take a deep, full breath in, filling in from your lower belly, up through your ribs, all the way to your chest. And then let the air go through your mouth. So let's do that one more time. So deep, full breath in, filling up your entire breathing space through your lower belly, your rib cage and upper chest, filling up your lungs, and then letting go. So now roll onto your side, and we're going to come up to an all fours position to start our practice. So coming into an all fours or tabletop position, bring your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees about hip distance apart, and have the tops of your feet resting in your mat. And your fingers will be spread, and think about putting a little bit of extra weight in your index finger and thumb. And we're just going to start to move. So move from side to side first with breath. So inhaling and exhaling. Do that a couple of times for a couple of breaths. Inhaling and exhaling. And then move forward, breathing in and out. In and out. And then we can do a couple of cat-cows. So bring your chin and tailbone up as you breathe in. And then exhale, draw your chin to your chest, tuck in your tailbone. And do that a couple times with your own breath, breathing in and out as you move. So as we practice our sun salutations today, follow at your own pace. If it doesn't feel good for your body. Slow down, you can always take child's pose. And you can always modify in a way that feels good to you. So let's come to stillness. Really planting your hands in the earth. Curl your toes. Bring your knees off the ground just for a moment, and then press your hips up to the sky, but keep your knees quite bent. So from this bent knee downward dog, let your neck relax and start to pedal your feet. So bringing one heel towards the ground and then the other, breathing in and out, just loosening up the backs of your legs. So we'll come to stillness for just a moment. Keep your knees quite bent, but feel your hips drawing up towards the sky. Feel your heels moving towards the ground. So feeling a lengthening along the back of your leg, still letting your neck relax. Maybe give a yes, no shake. Now when you're ready to take a breath in, look to your hands, and we'll just take some baby steps up to your hands. Come to halfway lift. So have a really strong, straight, flat back. The crown of your head will be facing forward. Now hinge and fold at your hips, but keep your knees quite bent. Rest your chest on the top of your thighs. Let your neck completely relax. And we'll stay here for 2 breaths. Now very slowly rise up, keeping your chin tucked, your back bent, and just slowly rise up. Let your neck come to neutral, and then bring your arms up overhead for a full stretch. You can bring your hands to a prayer position at the top, and then we're just going to lean over first to the right as you exhale. Breathe in to center, and then move to the left as you exhale. And then back to center. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So let's start our Surya Namaskar or sun salutations. So press your feet into the earth, take a deep full breath in, bring your arms up overhead, then bring your hands to your chest and forward fold. Tense your fingers, step your right foot back into low lunge, and then plant your hands, step your left foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come into all fours. Exhale as you sink into child's pose. Take a breath in to all fours. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold. Press your feet into the ground as you rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Press into the ground as you rise up. Bring your hands to your heart to hinge and fold. Tense your fingers, step your left foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands, step your right foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come to all fours. Exhale, sink into child's pose. Breathe in as you come to all fours. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back as you sink into downward dog. Look to your hands, take baby steps up to halfway lift. Hinge and fold. Press your feet into the earth as you rise up, reaching, extending with your arms overhead. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. We'll start number 2. Take a full deep breath in. Bring your hands to your heart. Hinge and fold. Tense your fingers. Step your right foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands. Step your left foot back into downward dog. Listen, this time we're going to pivot forward into plank or plank on knees. Plant the tops of your feet into the mat. Squeeze your sides as you lower all the way to your belly, resting your forehead on the mat. Lift your chest up, draw your shoulder blades down and back for baby cobra. Lower down with your forehead on the mat. Press up into all fours and then curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, and then press into the earth to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Press your feet into the earth to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart as you forward fold, tenting your fingers. Step your left foot back into low lunge. Now plant your hands. Bring your right foot back into downward dog. Pivot forward into plank or plank on knees. Tops of your feet on the mat. Squeeze your sides as you lower all the way down. Breathe in, lift your chest up, press your feet into the ground. Lower down. Press your hands into the earth to press up first to all fours and then curl your toes on your way to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold and then press into the ground to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Are you ready for round 3? Press into the earth and rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart as you forward fold. Tent your fingers. Step your right foot back into low lunge. Step your left foot back into downward dog. Pivot forward into plank or plank on knees. Squeeze your sides as you lower all the way to the ground. Now press the tops of your feet into the earth and press a little bit further up. Still drawing shoulder blades down and back into cobra. Lower down. Press into the earth to all fours. Curl your toes. Bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Listen, this time we're going to lift our right leg up to the sky as we breathe in. Now stand on the tippy toe of your left foot. Draw your knee up towards your belly. And we're going to step our right foot through. It might get stuck, so you can just use your hand to pull your right foot up into low lunge. Now step your left foot up into halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the earth to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Press into the ground, reaching, rising, extending. Bring your hands through heart center as you forward fold. Tent your fingers, step your left foot back into into low lunge. Plant your hands, step your right foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come to plank or plank on knees. And then lower all the way to the ground, resting your forehead on the mat. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Press up into cobra. Lower down to the ground. Press up into all fours first and then curl your toes on your way to downward dog. Breathe in as you bring your left foot up to the sky and then stand on the tippy toe of your right foot and then bring your left knee to your belly and step through into low lunge. Bring your right foot up and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold and then press into the ground to rise up, full extension. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Take a full deep breath in. We're going to number 4. Bring your hands through heart center as you hinge and fold. Tense your fingers. Step your right foot back into low lunge. Now plant your hands and step your left foot back into plank or plank on knees. Lower all the way to your belly. So this time, planting the tops of your feet into the mat, you can press up to cobra, or you can lift your knees up to upward dog. Now, curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. From here, you could walk your feet up to your hands, or if it feels okay, you can bend your knees, look up, and take a hop up to your hands into halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold. Listen, this time, have your knees bent as you rise up. We're coming into Utkatasana, awkward pose, chair pose. And then bring your hands down to your side, standing up. Take a full deep breath in. Bring your hands through heart center as you hinge and fold. Tense your fingers. Step your left foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands. Step your right foot back into plank or plank on knees. Lower all the way to your belly. Press into the ground, into cobra or upward dog. And then curl your toes and press up into downward dog. And we'll take a breath here. And once again, you can walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift, or you can look to your hands and take a little hop into halfway lift. Hinge and fold. Bend your knees, press up into chair pose or awkward pose. And then bring your hands down as you stand up. All right, are you ready for number 5? Take a full deep breath in, sink into chair pose. Hinge and fold, tense your fingers, step your right foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands, step your left foot back and lower all the way to your belly right away. Lift your chest up, pressing up into cobra or upward dog. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk, step, or hop up to halfway lift. Hinge and fold. Bend your knees, lift your arms up into chair pose. And then rise up to standing. Full deep breath in, sink into chair pose. Hinge and fold, tense your fingers, step your left foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands, step your right foot back and lower all the way to your belly. Press into the earth as you rise up to upward dog or cobra. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Now look to your hands. You could either walk, hop, or step up. Halfway lift. Hinge and fold. Press into the earth. Rise up to chair pose. And then stand up all the way. So for our 6th time through, we'll go back to the first one that we did. So come to the front of your mat again. Slowing down. Take a full deep breath in. Bring your hands through heart center, hinge and fold. Step your right foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands, step your left foot back into downward dog. We'll take one breath here. And then when you're ready to breathe in, come into all fours. And we're going to sink into child's pose. And we'll rest here, resting your forehead on the mat. Bring your right hand over towards the right side of your mat and then place your left hand on top of your right. You could rest your forehead or your head on your right hand. So feeling an openness and expansion along your right side body. And we'll take a few breaths here, feeling your belly pressing into your legs as you're breathing in and out. Now come back to center, rest your forehead on the mat just for one breath. Press up into all fours, curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands and take baby steps up to the top of your mat. Come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, letting your neck relax, and then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Last side. Are you ready? Full deep breath in, reach, extend. Bring your hands through heart center as you hinge and fold. Tenting your fingers, step your left foot back into low lunge. Plant your hands, step your right foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come to all fours and sink down into child's pose, resting your forehead on the mat. Bring your left hand over to the left side of your mat. Place your right hand on top of left. So maybe resting your head on your left arm. This time feeling the openness along your right side body. Feeling your belly pressing into your thighs, but as you're breathing in, feeling the expansion across your right side body. One more breath here. Come back to center into child's pose for a breath, resting your forehead on the mat. Now press into all fours and then curl your toes. Bring your hips high and back to downward dog. This will be our last downward dog. So bring your hips up towards the sky. Press your heels towards the ground. So once again, feeling that length and expansion in the back of your legs. Maybe noticing how open your legs feel after going through all those sun salutations. Let your neck relax. Now look to your hands. Walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold and press into the earth to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So you made it through your sun salutations. Happy summer. Namaste.